that everybody knows. But they don't. Anyway, let's turn to another performance art, stage and film. Kimberley Nixon was hoiked out of stage school, as you mentioned earlier, to be Sophie in Cranford, and now appears on stage at the Theatre Royal Haymarket in London in the first theatre adaptation of Tracy Chevalier's book, Girl with a Pearl Earring. A few nights under your belt now. Is it settling down? How's it going?
Yes, it's sort of bedded in very nicely, and we can sort of relax in it and breathe in it a little bit and find different things rather than just trying to remember which side to leave the stage and what's my next line. So
it must be a bit unnerving to be offered that particular part after the film made such waves with Scarlett Johansson, the girl in the pearl earring, on every poster. Did you dare to go and see the film?
No, I didn't see the film. I was actually just before I was sort of offered the role, and then I went to Belfast to do a film there for a month. So I was sort of out the way a little bit, and I just got on with that film. And then as soon as that finished, 2 days later, they were theatre rehearsals for this. So I didn't really have time to sort of worry about it. But I just decided not to watch the film because I just thought it would just be there in my subconscious, and I didn't want it to be there.
The one thing to this very much with the poor actors in the new Brideshead film, and you just know that Jeremy Irons and Anthony Anderson hovering over the malignant spectres. But I gather Tracy Chevalier, the author, has said she likes you better than Scarlett Johansson in the part.
Yes, but I think that was largely to do with sexiness, in that I don't have any, and she does.
Come on. men, Stephen. Don't you think? But, you know, she smoulders. She does
smoulder. She has those sort of plump lips, doesn't she? And I don't have that. So,
You can get them, though.
Yeah, I could get them. I did ask for collagen as part of my contract, but they said no. So,
you don't want to do that.
So I think that's what the fact that I have smaller lips helped me.
I think what she probably means is that actually she saw in the book, she saw the girl as defined by being terrifically involved in the art and being herself with an artistic sensibility and learning with the painter familiar.
Because I haven't seen the film, I don't know. I think in about a year's time I'd like to sit down and watch it myself one night when it's all over and just see, because it'd be interesting to see what similarities or differences there are, but I don't know.
We should explain the story perhaps to people who haven't seen either yet or read the book. It's a fiction built around that very mysterious picture by Vermeer, the Dutch artist, of a servant girl wearing a pearl earring and looking slightly sidelong.
And a very strange turban. Scarf.
Because the clothes indicate that she is a servant girl.
Yes, her clothes do, but
and yet she's wearing the pearl earring, possibly the artist's wife's, whatever. And, and so we should say Tracy Chevalier made up the story entirely. I mean, nobody really knows who the girl in the pearl earring is.
Yes, it's a fantastic idea, I think. Because I read the book, and it's such a beautiful novel. I read it in about a day and a half, and because it's a bit like our play. Nothing hugely dramatic happens, but it's so sort of compelling. I think it's just watching the people sort of weave around each other.
Somebody describes your portrayal of the servant girl as having a hungry curiosity. I rather like that. Here's this great painter, and you're in his household, and you're learning, and maybe he fancies you, and maybe whatever.
Yes, I think maybe what Tracy was saying when she said that my grief was more how she envisaged, was more to do with the fact that her sort of sexuality, what makes her so attractive and so arousing, I think, is that she's so enthusiastic about learning about art and paint and how to make paint and composition and light and just her, like you said, her hungry curiosity for that is what.
And that, of course, for the painter is also very exciting because she's involved in what it is he does.
Yes, exactly.
She's an acolyte as well as a young girl in a pearl earring.
Yes, and he's never let anyone into that world before. It's sort of set up in the book and the play that his studio is his sort of it's sort of his sanctum, and no one in the family is allowed in there. And so she's allowed in there to clean, and they slowly build this relationship, and it's really sort of...
And the wife lurks in the background.
Yes, she lurks. She's often pregnant.
Margaret grinning over there. Wives lurking in the background. Now, Cranford, which you wrote, Sophie, that was a period piece.
Yes, it was.
And so is this from a century earlier. Do you enjoy trying to think yourself into attitudes and social norms of past
Yes, I think so. I think I've always slightly felt, even when I was a little girl, that I was sort of born into the wrong time, slightly. Because I always loved Austen novels and...
you liked history?
Yes, I think now, obviously, we can romanticize things. I mean, I'm sure you know, I'd much rather be a woman today than then, but I just sort of, I don't know. I've also been told that I have a sort of period face. I get told that all the time.
It's interesting, because, I mean, we've had an outbreak of films in recent years where, because of the sensibility and the behaviour and the look of modern actresses and what they want to do, they've completely ruined the story. As in Mansfield Park, they made Fanny into a kind of tough, ball-breaking, you know, sort of riding crop swishing character. Same happened in The Woodlanders. It happens endlessly. Same happened in the 30s novel, George Orwell novel coming up for air. It's actually, I mean, I was wondering how hard it is for a young, independent, tough, pretty girl like yourself to think yourself into being a servant girl, being rather cautious around the bosses, you know, being rather submissive.
I know it sounds really sort of contradictory, but there's something actually quite liberating in being, you know, as Greek, she has to be largely subservient, and I've never had to be that. I've always been able to speak my mind, do what I want. If I want to go to drama school, then I'll go. If I want to go to university to be a lawyer or a teacher or a doctor, then I'll do that. But suddenly having to, I can only speak when I'm spoken to. I can only do things when I'm told to do them. It's
quite enjoying it.
Yeah, I do enjoy it. Yeah.
No, it's a bit of obedience. I was wondering again.
It's something that I've never had to experience in my life, and as most girls, people in my generation do. So it's just so different. It lets me connect to Greek much better.
Kimberley, I must just also mention you've been working on rather more edgy indie stuff. You've been working on Cherrybomb with sex and drugs and rock and roll, and you've been in that Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging film, and Wild Child. So you've reconnected with your modern self. Do you prefer being a bitch or a nice girl? Which is more fun? On the stage, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I think probably bitch, but just because you're sort of not allowed to be in real life, and I wouldn't really want to be, but you can say awful things in plays and films that sometimes wish you could say in real life, but I couldn't deal with the guilt of it. So it's quite nice. But in Cherrybomb, she is a slight bitch, but she's sort of more of a vixen, but this relationship grows between her and Rupert Grint, and he sort of brings out her softer side, and you realise why she's become so hardened.
I shall have to see this. I find it hard to imagine you as hard.
Please don't see it.
You think I'm too old, don't you?
No.
I should say, now you're still sticking to your roots. You're still living in Pontypridd in Wales.
Yes, I am.
Will this last, or will stardom force you to live in Hampstead?
I hope not. No offence to Hampstead, but I like Wales, and I like Ponty where I live, and it's just I like to go back there because I'm not Kimberley Nixon there. I'm just Kim, who everyone went to school with.
So it's kind of back with Steve, where we're roots, aren't we, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
Close to your own land.
That's right.
Something.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go finally right back onto the wild and gritty edges of life. Captain Doug Beattie, lately back from Afghanistan, where he's been working.